Actually, we have three intentions of calling for this forum. First is to report on the 2018 regional economic situation of Region 10. And secondly, we would like to introduce to you more formally a program that has been approved and adopted by the Regional Development Council and the Regional Peace and Order Council, an enabling program which we call the Convergence Areas for Peace and Development, CAPDEV. This program intends to operationalize Executive Order number 70 issued by the President last December 4, 2018. We have among us our partners in media, including the information officers of the various regional line agencies. We are here and we have invited you because we want you to also spread the good news. And not only the good news, but you can also spread to our partners some of the persistent issues that haunt us as a region. Before I begin, I would like to introduce that NEDA has some innovations in the regional economic situation. We will be including henceforth, starting today, a section on public order and safety, as well as peace and security, because public order and safety, peace and security, these are all imperatives to regional and national developments. Without these two subsectors, we cannot talk about development and vice versa. We have also included in our regional economic situation a section on prospects. And when we say prospects, these are all positive, these are both positive and adverse prospects. These are things that we can anticipate in the next 3 or 6 months. Why are we including prospects? So that we can also recalibrate our action as a government machinery. And we can also sharpen some of our existing programs that are designed to attain development. We have given you a long version of the regional economic situation. What I'm going to give you are some of the highlights of this regional economic situation. And we'd like to acknowledge the contribution of our partners in crafting or in coming up with this RES. We had a roundtable discussion like last week, was it last week? We had a roundtable discussion last Monday, right? To verify the data that we're going to use today. So let me proceed. So in agriculture, production of palay, which is among the region's major crops, grew by 2.1% in 2018. Corn output, however, was rather modest as it only increased by 1%. Coconut production improved across the board amid falling copra price during the year. Inventory of livestock and poultry and production of meat and eggs inched up by 2.1% and 3.6% respectively, very modest increases, I should say. On the other hand, fishery production declined by 2.1% year on year, and I think this is the trend across nation. The crop subsector also moved sideways as the increase in the production of vegetables and fruits were offset or tempered by output declines in industrial crops and food crops. In particular, sugarcane, which accounts for 1/3 of major crops production, decreased by 33% as farmers were discouraged to plant sugarcane due to the decline in commodity price. Amidst the mixed performance of the agriculture in 2018, the region, I would like to say, is still a significant or a major contributor to the country's agriculture output, as we remain the largest producer of pineapple and cattle in the country. We are also the second largest producer of sugarcane, banana, and coconut, and third in terms of poultry. Upward price pressures were actually recorded from fuel, rice, and meat commodities, but this has softened in the last quarter of the year. So if you study the inflation rate closely, you would know that the inflation was actually caused by pressure in the prices of fuel, meat, and rice. Investments slowed down due to high base effect and slackened investments in the reference year, meaning in 2018. The uptick in prices, especially in the second and third quarters of the year, tempered to some extent household consumption and investment spending. So tungkol sa taas na presyo in the last year, ang ato sa mga households, they also decreased ang ilang spending. The region's average employment rate, however, improved from 94.7% in 2017 to 95.9% in 2018. Now this increase, how do we translate this into more concrete terms? This increase actually means that around 141,000 new jobs were generated in 2018. Okay? 141,000 new jobs. However, lang yun, fewer quality jobs were created. Why can we say that? Anong gamay man ang quality jobs na na-create? Gamay ra because ang atong underemployment actually increased. Akong balikon ha? Our employment level increased in 2018 from 94.7% to 95.9%. In more concrete terms, that increase translates into 141,000 new jobs generated for the region in 2018. However, the kind of jobs that were created were not as meaningful as we wanted it. Why? Why are we saying that? Because our underemployment level actually increased by 18.1%. It actually increased by 2.2 percentage points, no? To 28.8%. Meaning, in 2017, our underemployment level was around 18.6. Last year, it inched up to 20.8%. But still, this is better than our regional target. Next, please. In general, the transport sector had good performance, as evidenced by increased number of ship calls and cargoes handled, air traffic, and motor vehicle registration. Household energization level reached the 90% mark in 2018. Kailan ko i-qualify? In terms of barangays energized, we have already reached the 100% mark. Meaning all barangays in Region 10 already have access to electricity. However, in terms of households, not all households have electricity. Pero ang mga barangay na ay electricity. Pero dili tanan households na ay kuryente. But it was in 2018 that we reached the 90% level as far as households are concerned. Evidences would show that peace and order in the region has actually improved in 2018. But I would request the PNP as well as the commander of the 4th Infantry Division to report on this later on. Because mas maayo kung gikan sa ila ang atong report. Next, please. So this one are the development aspects, both positive and adverse. We're showing these prospects because we'd like to tell our public na ang inyong gobyerno dili reactive. That the government is proactive. That the government is anticipating any and all developments, including adverse one. Because the government does not want to be caught flat-footed. The region's inflation, which peaked in October 2018 at 7.6%, has slid further to 4.3% in February 2019. Price levels are expected to normalize in the coming months and settle back to the government's target of 3 to 4% in 2019. The government shall continue to implement anti-inflationary measures, particularly the prices of basic agricultural commodities such as rice and meat products, which buoyed actually the overall inflation in the past. Kasi ang inflation is actually, there are two factors to look at that inflation. No? One is the availability of supply, and second is efficiency in distribution. Based on the monitoring of the Philippine Statistics Authority, rice inflation significantly moderated from 10.1% in October 2018 to just 0.7% in February 2019. This assurance also comes from the signing of the Rice Tariffication Act, which is expected to bring down rice prices and cut inflation by 0.5 to 0.7 percentage point this year. For those who are actually complaining about the Rice Tariffication Act, we're sad to note that most of their arguments are anchored not on empirical data but simply based on emotion because they have not really studied the tariffication law and its implications. The IRR shall contain provisions on the removal of the National Food Authority's regulatory powers and the streamlining of import requirements. It also provides details on the necessary institutional arrangements that will enhance competitiveness and institute safety nets to assist local farmers affected by the removal of the quota restriction on rice imports. The money that would be generated from the tariffs on rice importation actually are going to be utilized for safety nets of our farmers. After a subdued performance in 2018, investments are expected to set pace this year, 2019, as billions worth of investments are being poured into the region. Particularly, I'd like you to pay close attention to this, particularly in Misamis ecozones. Several companies have either started operation or construction within the FIBIDEC Industrial Authority or PIA complex in Misamis Oriental this year, or are finalizing their accreditation with PIA as locators. I'll cite some examples. Gardenia Bakeries Philippines commenced its operation early March this year, while San Miguel Corporation is setting up several projects in the area, including its second brewery in Mindanao. Other firms which plan to establish investment footprint in the area include a steel manufacturing corporation and a tennis ball maker, among others. A US $4.4 billion integrated steel manufacturing complex is in the pipeline and will become the largest industrial investment in the region once it is realized. And the project is going to be implemented by Chinese firms and Steel Asia Manufacturing Corporation, and this investment is expected to generate 20,000 new jobs. It is expected also to produce basic iron and steel products that will further supply downstream steel industries or downstream steel products like metal sheets and bars and construction grade steel products. However, in its latest El Nino advisory issued on March 22, declaring the onset of El Nino, the Philippine Atmospheric Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration has advised all concerned agencies, such as the Department of Agriculture, the Office of Civil Defense, and our local government units to start already instituting and implementing measures to mitigate the adverse impact of El Nino in the region. This week, El Nino may result in a prolonged dry spell and hotter air temperatures in the coming months, possibly until August in some areas in the country, including Bukidnon. Based on its outlook, by end of April 2019, 39% of the country will likely experience dry spell, including Region 10, particularly in the province of Bukidnon, Camiguin, Lanao del Norte, and Misamis Occidental. What about Misamis Oriental? We will likely experience drought in April and May. The Weather Bureau said varying impacts of El Nino are already present and becoming severe. By the way, during the joint meeting of the RDC and RPOC last Monday, the RDC and RPOC actually approved the revival, so to speak, of our task force rate or roadmap to address the adverse effect of El Nino in the region. Part of the DA's action plan is the distribution of water pumps and engines in affected areas, delivery of seed subsidy immediately after the El Nino, prepositioning of rice supply for affected households, and the availability of no interest and no collateral loan, which they call survival and recovery loan, amounting to 25,000 per affected farmer. The Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation is also reportedly processing crop insurance claims of farmers for those affected by El Nino. Aside from El Nino, a reenacted budget will likely temper our growth prospects, not only of Region 10 but the entire country. The NEDA estimates that a reenacted budget until April 2019 will bring down full-year economic growth to 6.1 to 6.3% and will go as low as 4.9% to 5.1% if the budget is passed by the next Congress in August 2019. A reenacted budget will likely drag regional growth in 2019 by about the same degree as the slowdown of the country's gross regional domestic product. It will also create a delay in both new and ongoing projects, as well as the implementation of the public social services. The NEDA continues to call for the immediate passage of the 2019 budget, even as it commits to monitor developments and secure the economy from risks to growth. And that ends my statement. Maayong buntag ka na.